Good morning, everyone, and welcome in here on
In
Live
a
Now from
significant
Fox, the
development in
time
the ongoing
7:57
Israel-Hamas
on the East
conflict,
Coast and
Hamas has
4:57
released
on
3
the West
hostages
Coast.
from Gaza,
My name is Josh
including an
Freslow, and I'm here
American
to bring you
citizen.
all of your top
This
stories
move
and
comes
live
after
events
Hamas
from
had
across the
previously
country
stated they
and
would
across
not
the
release
world.
any
I do want
hostages,
to get you right to some
claiming
breaking
Israel
news that
had
we are
violated
following
the
right now
terms of the
out of the
ceasefire.
Middle East. Take a look at
The
your
released
screen here
hostages were
as
paraded
a
through the
second
streets of
American
Gaza before being
hostage has
sent
now
back
been
to
freed
Israel.
after spending nearly
President Trump and
500
Israeli
days
Prime
in
Minister
captivity.
Benjamin
This is
Netanyahu
video
had
from a
given
short
Hamas
time
an
ago
ultimatum,
as security
demanding the
detail
release of
10
all
was
hostages
paraded through
by
the
noon
streets of
today,
Gaza
or
before
the
being
fighting
sent
would
back
resume
to
after a
Israel
several-week
alongside
pause.
2 other captives
The
that were
United
seized in
Nations
that
countered
video as
Hamas's
well.
claims,
Do want to pull up this
stating that
graphic for you as
humanitarian
you can
aid to
see photos
Gaza had
coming in of
actually
all
increased.
3 of those
Mark
hostages
Chandler,
that were
a former
released. There
senior
is
defense
also
intelligence official,
Sasha there,
believes Hamas is
Trofimov,
trying to
and
control the
Ira
narrative
Horn.
and
There were
manipulate the
questions about
situation,
whether the
knowing
hostages
the
would be
importance of
released, as
returning
Hamas
hostages
did
to
claim
Israel.
Israel had
The
violated
swift
the
response
terms
from
of
the
the
U.S. and
ceasefire
Israel,
that was in
threatening to
effect
quickly
in
resume
Britain this
military
past week,
action,
not
likely
to free
pressured
any
Hamas to
additional
follow through with the
hostages.
planned release.
However, Israeli Prime Minister
While
Benjamin
President Trump
Netanyahu
called
gave
for
the
the
terror
release of
group
all
an
hostages,
ultimatum of
Mark
sorts,
Chandler
allowing
believes
them
this
until
is
noon
unrealistic
today
at this
to
stage.
follow through with that
Hamas
plan,
views
or
the
the fighting
hostages as
would
highly
resume
valuable
after a
leverage and
several-week
is unlikely
pause.
to lose
And we
all
do have
negotiating
this
strength
image
by
right
releasing
here on
everyone
pop
at
up for
once.
you as well. As you
The
can see,
ceasefire
folks are
plan
waiting
involves different
for the
phases,
return
with
of
not
those
all hostages
hostages as
scheduled
they
for
are
release until
transported
Phase
back to
3.
Israel. Then they will
Chandler
be
notes that
checked
the
out at a
UN's
hospital
statement
in
countering
that
Hamas's claims
location
about
there.
Israel
President
violating the
Trump did
ceasefire is
echo
important.
Netanyahu's warning,
However,
saying
he
Israel can do
emphasizes
what it
that as a
wants when it
terrorist
comes to
organization,
retaliation
Hamas
if
has
the
no
hostages
regard for
were
human
not
life and
freed
cannot be
as
expected
planned.
to behave
A lot to
morally.
discuss here, so
Looking
I do want to
ahead to
bring in
Phase
Mark
2 of the
Chandler,
ceasefire,
Director of
set
Government
to begin
Relations
around
and
March
Professor
2nd.
of Practice at
Chandler
Coastal
believes there is
Carolina
a
University,
50-50th
also
chance of
a
it being
former
reached.
senior defense
He
intelligence
notes that
official.
Hamas is
Thank you
likely
so much, Mark,
rearming and
as
refitting
always,
during
for
this
taking the time
time,
to join us
and
and
will
help
seek
talk
to
us through
control
all
the
of this.
narrative.
Josh, you're
The
quite
next
welcome.
2
Good
weeks will
morning
be
today.
critical in
Good morning.
determining the
Well, first
outcome.
off, I do want to start by talking about
Regarding the
the threat from
ceasefire with
Hamas
Lebanese
terror group.
Hezbollah,
On Monday
Chandler
and
believes it is
Tuesday
making
both, they did
progress,
say that
despite
they
some
would
ongoing
withhold these
challenges.
hostages. They
The
claim that
ceasefire was
Israel
set to
had
take full effect on
broken the
January
deal there,
27th,
broken the terms
but
of
was
the
extended to
ceasefire when it
February
came to
18th due to
humanitarian aid.
Hezbollah not
However,
fully
the United
withdrawing and the
Nations,
Lebanese
which
army
has
not yet
been the
moving into
biggest
the
fan of
south.
Israel, said that
The situation
humanitarian aid
remains tenuous,
has actually
as demonstrated
increased.
by a
So
recent
was there
attack on
really a
UN
threat that
peacekeeping
Hamas
forces
was
by
not going
Hezbollah
to follow
supporters.
through with the plan?
However, Chandler views the
Josh,
overall
I'm not
progress
sure
as
that Hamas
positive,
was really
while
truly
acknowledging the
intending to follow through
nuances
with
that
this.
need to
I
be
think what you
addressed to
see
ensure
is
Israeli
Hamas really
security
trying to
and prevent
control the
future
narrative
Hezbollah
and
attacks.
manipulate the situation.
As for the
Hamas
Houthis,
realizes how
Chandler
important
believes they are
returning these
currently biding their
hostages
time.
is to Israel.
They
I
have
mean, it's
publicly
a part of their
supported
national
Hamas in the
culture, Israel's
ceasefire
national
and
culture,
stated they will
and
not
so
attack
returning these
Israel during this
hostages is
period.
very important to them. And I think
However, if the
because, as I've
ceasefire
said
breaks
before,
down,
unfortunately, Hamas
the
probably
Houthis
has a
have
little
threatened
bit
to
of
immediately
upper hand
resume
here
attacks
because
on
they
Israel.
do have these hostages.
Chandler
I
expects they
think
will
they're trying
follow
to
through on this
control
threat
that
if the
narrative and
situation
manipulate the
deteriorates.
situation. You look at the
Chandler
swift
points out an
response by the
important
United
factor
States,
that
by
should not be
President
overlooked:
Trump, and then Prime
Iran's
Minister
role in the
Netanyahu in
conflict.
Israel, how they said
Just
they
2
were going to
days
come
before
back
Hamas
quickly if
announced
the
they might
hostages
halt the
weren't
release
released.
of
So for 3
hostages,
days,
senior
Hamas
Hamas
kind of
leadership met with
controlled how
Iran's
this
supreme leader in
development was going
Tehran.
to take place throughout
Chandler
the week.
finds this
And I
timing
think that's
suspicious
critical to
and
understand.
believes it may be
They're
part
going
of
to release
Hamas's
them as
manipulation
long
and
as
information
it
warfare
benefits
tactics.
Hamas's
He emphasizes
objective
that Iran
and
is still
Hamas's
working behind the
control of the
scenes,
situation. I
controlling
hate
the
to
actions of
characterize it like
Hamas,
that, but really,
Hezbollah, and the
Hamas does
Houthis.
have control since they
As
have these
Iran has
hostages.
suffered
Well, of
losses,
course.
they are
And
trying to
we did
regain
hear
as much
from
control as
President Donald
possible
Trump as well
and
as
keep the
Israeli
region
Prime Minister
destabilized.
Benjamin Netanyahu saying,
Chandler stresses the
essentially
importance
that
of
12
recognizing
o'clock
Iran's
deadline
ongoing
noon
attempts
today
to
for
manipulate the
not just the
situation from
hostages to
behind
be
the
released that
scenes.
were planned for release, but also really all hostages that